What's up, you guys? Ross Sapp here for the Wrestling Inc. podcast, March 28th edition. It is 11/11. Let's make a wish that a Raw like this never happens again. Vince Russo is here. Raj Giri is here. I almost forgot because I've tried to erase this entire night from my memory. Now, I want to say this. Vince, you wanted to like this show. We all wanted to like this show.
We did. We all want. I think that's a fair assessment. Yes.
You even predicted yourself perhaps enjoying this show last week because you said they should try to put all hands on deck. That is not what happened tonight.
Well, I mean, Sean, it opened with great promise, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the first 20 minutes of the show were the best 20 minutes of the show.
Uh-huh.
Sean, listen, I'm going to hand it over to you because I don't even know where to start, bro. So
Okay.
go ahead, conduct this show.
So this is where we kick things off, and I thought this was a very good segment. Also, guys, by the way, if you haven't, if you're on the YouTube thing, give this thing a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Leave us a good review on iTunes. Things like that help, of course. Also, share this link, tweet this link anywhere you can. Spread the word, please. But we started off with The Undertaker coming out. Shane McMahon followed. They both had prime Donald Trump tans, I'm telling you. They are ready for WrestleMania, these two guys. Now, in a true indication, first off, I want Vince Russo, who do you think wrote this opening dialogue between Undertaker and Shane McMahon?
Oh, God. I mean, I would have to say Vince.
And I thought that too because the main premise, the main thing I got from this is everybody is Vince McMahon's bitch.
Yeah.
Raj, what did you think of the in-ring promo?
The promo itself, I thought it was fairly by the numbers, but the crowd was so hot that it felt like I was like, this show is going to be awesome. I mean, this so much energy in that opening segment. Nothing that that would surprise you, or that was like I said, that was necessarily thinking out of the box. But it was a fun segment with a lot of energy. So I thought, man, this could be the show to really get things going again. And really that should have been probably saved for the close of the show. You could have opened up with Shane, challenging Undertaker to come out later, or something like that, where you build to that as opposed to having the hottest thing on the show, in the first 15 minutes. But I thought that opening, the opening was great. And if Shane dyed his hair, he would look like 10 years younger. I mean, he looks in really good shape. He looks, I mean, he looks great. He just has more gray hair than Vince, but and other than that, he looks great.
Yeah, he looked to be in great shape. I thought, as you mentioned, the crowd super hot, so that had me excited for the show. Shane or Vince McMahon, of course, everybody's his bitch. The Undertaker let everybody know that Shane McMahon was Vince McMahon's bitch, which was very interesting. Shane attacked Undertaker, and it led to the Shane McMahon elbow drop spot to the outside. I love that. It makes me think if they did that on the Go Home Raw, I wonder what they're going to do on Sunday. So a hot segment. Vince, what did you think of the outside the ring action?
Well, Sean, I just want to backtrack for a second because I just want to lay something out there. I think there are two fundamental problems, and I think they've had two fundamental problems in this entire build. Number one, if this were a shoot, and I hate to say that because it's not, but when I wrote Raw, that's how we treated it. If this were a shoot, what's the most important story? Is the most important story the control of the company, or is the most important story a championship belt? For the WWE, who is still doing wrestling circa 1970, the belt is the most important thing. No, it's not. That's not the most important story. The most important story is who's in charge of the company. But look at the way they ended the show. To them, the most important story is the WWE title, and 95% of the time it is, but not in this case. So fundamentally, right there, they're off kilter. Like Rod said, Taker Shane, that should have been the top story. That's number one fundamentally. Number two fundamentally, Sean, and I used to have to fight this every single week. In wrestling, bro, there's this rule of thumb that somebody can't be in two angles. You got to keep each angle totally separate from the other. That was the second biggest fundamental faux pas in this entire build-up, because how could Triple H and Stephanie not be commenting on what's going on with Shane McMahon? That's the problem, and what all that goes back to is it's Wrestling 1970 for the WWE. And, bro, I got to be honest with you. With these smart crowds, it's almost like they're making fun of them. I mean, it's almost like they're literally making fun of the product, and they need to wake the frig up. The main story should have been control of the company. Triple H and Stephanie should have been involved in the story. The fact that they're not even bringing it up is such bad writing and so behind the times and so backwards in time. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. The story is Taker and Shane. That what you saw at the beginning should have been the end of the freaking show. And any moron with a pencil could have seen that. Okay, I'm done.
So, as you mentioned, major hole here, because every single week we see Triple H and Stephanie come out and say, "This is my ring. This is my ring." Not a Shane McMahon wins on Sunday.
Now I got to ask you this too. Did they say, because Byron Saxton said this could be the last appearance of the Undertaker at WrestleMania, whereas then it sounded like Michael Cole was backtracking a little bit and just saying it would be the last WrestleMania for the Undertaker. Have they said, like, if he loses, that's it? Because I don't think they ever said it. They said that it's his last WrestleMania, so he'll retire by WrestleMania, or is it that he's done?
They said the last time he'll compete at WrestleMania if he loses. That's what Vince said.
Right, but it's not necessarily that he's retiring, right? Because
No,
I don't know
no.
if there's a spoiler or not, because he's booked for the European tour a couple of weeks after.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are thinking that the stip is that Undertaker's done, but I don't know.
No, I think it's just at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
because
Taker said it too, Raj. In the promo, he said, "This will not be my last WrestleMania." So,
Yeah.
But, you know, Sean, you just said something very interesting. Okay, think about this. Think about the logic. There was a point in time when the three announcers were on screen, and they were saying what was going to happen if Shane McMahon wins the match. And they basically said Stephanie will not be on the show. Triple H will not be here. Vince McMahon will not be here. They laid out who we would not see again if Shane McMahon were to gain power. If that's the case, and that's what your own announcers are saying, why the frig is the title match more important to Triple H than that?
Who knows? And this is why I think they may have to have the Triple H Roman Reigns match go on last, which I think would be terrible, because if Roman Reigns were to beat Triple H earlier in the night, why wouldn't Triple H get involved in that Undertaker Shane McMahon match? That is, which, I mean, there are plot holes all over the place. Let's not joke about it. I mean, they're everywhere, so I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that. But he would have to get involved if he had already lost the title, because then what power does he have?
Yeah, I don't know. They just it's just so illogical, and we're trying to put logic to it, and they're not. You know, they're running two separate angles. So, you know, Triple H has to concentrate on Roman Reigns. Can't talk about Shane because we'll be overlapping angles. But by not overlapping angles, there's no logic to the story whatsoever. So I don't know.
So where we are now, Vince, who do you think should win at WrestleMania between Shane and Taker?
Well, because of that show I watched tonight, Shane.
Yeah.
Listen,
Raj?
man. I'm sorry, but bro, there needs to be drastic changes in that company. And listen, I know it's a work.
Been like that for years.
Yeah, I know it's a work, but if Shane is back with the company in some capacity, it has to be a positive move.
As we go through each of these segments, we will give you our WrestleMania predictions as it relates to that. I think that's much better than giving a just match-by-match rundown. Raj, who do you think should win the Undertaker versus Shane McMahon?
I think you got to go Shane. Just what they've announced the stakes to be. I mean, they basically told the audience that Raw sucks, and and Shane will fix it. And if he loses, you're basically telling the audience that Raw has been sucking and it's going to continue to suck. So you got to have Shane win, in my opinion.
I agree. For so long, we've heard Raw sucks. Our lives suck because we watch Raw. I mean, they tell us that every week they come out and the authority tells the fan, the audience, how much they suck, and then somebody comes along and reminds you, hey, yeah, maybe this is one of the reasons your life isn't so great because you're watching this 3-hour show every Monday. But to keep this momentum, we come back to see Zack Ryder in the ring, which is incredible. He beat Chris Jericho, which AJ Styles caused the distraction finish. Yeah, I guess I'm okay with this because Zack Ryder needed some sort of victory before his WrestleMania match. Not like it mattered anyway. Nobody is looking at this like, oh, Zack Ryder beat Chris Jericho, so he's going to win the Intercontinental title. But then again, I mean, maybe some like 11-year-old somewhere is. Raj, what did you think of all this? I did think that Jericho was fantastic after the match.
Yeah, Jericho's good. I mean, he's great in that role, but man, they do that way too often, where one guy is refusing a challenge and the other guy and then ends up accepting for some petty reason. I refuse this match. Well, your ears are big. Okay, well now I'll take it. It's like that's. It's just not a satisfying way to get someone to take a match. So
could you imagine if a distraction finish was a real thing in the UFC? Nobody that ever if Conor McGregor was ringside, I couldn't imagine how that would have such a drastic effect on the results. Nobody would ever have a clean finish because Conor McGregor would be out there running his mouth all day.
It just makes them look like idiots whenever they do a distraction finish.
Yeah. And to some people, I'm sure they're like, well, why do I want to watch this dumbass wrestle on the biggest show of the year now? He just lost to Zack Ryder. I don't know, Vince. Vince, what did you think?
Well, Ryder is challenging for a title, so.
Oh yeah, he is.
I'm just floored. Listen, let's call a spade here. I'm just floored that the whole angle. Listen, Jericho and AJ are two great performers. I got to work with both of them. They're great performers. With that being said, I am blown away that the whole angle behind this match is AJ Styles versus Y2 Jackass. That's the angle. You got Chris Jericho and AJ Styles, and that's the angle to WrestleMania, which blows my freaking mind.
Yeah, they just don't. I mean, they have a knack for making their baby faces not look cool at all. They look like these toadies.
If you would believe it, a 70-year-old man is in control of the show.
I'm kidding.
Next up, Charlotte versus Becky. A very hot crowd throughout this match. Imagine if WWE actually gave them a reason to be a hot crowd. Imagine how much louder it would have been. I'm excited for this match. Also, sorry, I jumped ahead. Vince, who do you have winning the Chris Jericho AJ Styles match on Sunday?
I think AJ's definitely going over.
I agree. Raj?
Yeah, I agree too.
Now, this match I'm actually excited for. The Charlotte, Becky, Sasha. I'm sure they're going to pull out all the stops. I'm sure they're going to get time. I'm sure it's going to be fun. The build-up has been okay. Not the best thing I've ever seen. I really like the Charlotte-Becky stuff that led into this triple threat and all that stuff. But this is, by all means, one of the bigger women's matches in WWE history, is it not, Raj?
I would say so. I can't remember the last time that they've booked one with the storyline, going for as long as it has. So who else? Who did Trish face? Trish had a big match at WrestleMania.
Mickie James.
Mickie James. That might have been the biggest one.
That was fantastic too.
And then Sable, didn't she have? Wasn't it Luna Vachon and Sable?
Yeah, it was way back. Yeah.
Yeah, so that might have been bigger too, but for the current era, this is definitely there, and it looks like you got to think that Charlotte's going to be losing at Mania. I mean, she won flat out clean here, and Vince, I actually got a question for you. When you guys would book the Raw before WrestleMania, did you pretty much have all the winners?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Raj. Because I was saying the same exact thing. Me personally, I think Charlotte should go over at WrestleMania. I think they need to continue to build the Charlotte heat. With that being said, I would have put Becky over in tonight's match. Right. I would have, because nobody's going to remember this if Charlotte comes out on top at WrestleMania. So I was a little surprised, unless they're not putting Charlotte over at WrestleMania.
Right, and so how often would those plans change? Where you book something for Raw, knowing that the other person's going over at Mania, and then it changes. Did that ever really happen back then?
No, I mean we went week to week, Raj. So like literally we're writing tonight's show last week, so we know who's going over at Mania, and that definitely is going to have an impact on the finishes tonight.
Yeah.
It's worth noting Charlotte's held that title for 6 months now. So for about the last approximately 500 days, there have been 2 champions. That's at least keeping some consistency with the title. Vince, who do you think is going to go over at WrestleMania? Charlotte, Sasha Banks, or Becky Lynch? I know that you want Charlotte to, but who do you think will?
I think if I was there, my vote would be Charlotte. I think Charlotte should continue. And it's so easy. All you have to do is let Becky and Sasha get into it, and Charlotte can sneak in the back door, which is going to get her even more heat. It's really even to do. I think, if you're asking me, I think they're going to put it on Sasha, and me personally, I think that's premature. I would still keep it on Charlotte and keep building the heat.
I got to go with Sasha. I think it's her time too, and I think it sets up a summer-long Sasha and Charlotte program too. And I think you could kind of have them go back and forth, but I think Sasha should win there.
Yeah, I think that Sasha Banks is going to win. I see Becky Lynch being in that almost Tommy Dreamer role where she doesn't have a lot of title time, and when she does, it's probably kind of at least a big thing for her. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that match at WrestleMania. Next up, we had Vince McMahon backstage. This man barely has a speaking voice, you guys. I mean, is it just the age? Maybe he's yelling at people too much, Vince?
Maybe it's stress, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I see him, man, he looks stressed out. Well, maybe stressed is the wrong word, or maybe he's tired. I mean, he is 70. I mean, let's be honest. And he just, every time I see him, he just looks tired. And look, I'm freaking tired at 55, so I totally understand that.
You know what they should have had? They should have had a backstage segment, because I felt like this did nothing. I felt like they should have had a backstage segment with Shane and Triple H. And Triple H saying something like, regardless of if you win, I'm still going to be the champion. Because that's a scenario. Those are 2 top matches that hasn't been addressed at all. And at least you could have, brought that out. That's a possibility, and and Triple H plans on staying around. So, I think that would have been a lot more interesting than this. This segment did nothing, and Vince just he seemed like he aged 10 years over the last couple of weeks in that segment.
I thought so as well, and your idea covered a lot of different bases. Very surprised they haven't touched on that yet. But Shane said that he's going to take the company away from Vince McMahon, but like Vince McMahon stole it away from his father. Next up was the Battle Royal segment. Curtis Axel did a Mr. Perfect shout-out. It is Mr. Perfect's birthday today. Jobbers everywhere, you guys, everywhere. And Golden Truth were among that. So, by all means, let me play devil's advocate here, you guys. This has been the most built-up WrestleMania match, maybe ever. It's had, 3 months of vignettes with R-Truth and Goldust finally hyping up this team that's going to go into this Battle Royal. This build's been happening since around the Rumble.
We're getting the payoff finally.
Yeah.
Man, gosh. They do this build every time, you know. Like for Royal Rumble, they always have that same build where you have 30 guys all of a sudden, you know, charge the ring, and it's just done over and over. Man, Mark Henry looked like he could barely move when he went out there. So I you know, I gotta think he's probably not going to be around too much longer.
So who's winning it? No Wyatt's in sight tonight.
I've got to go with I'd say either Mark Henry or Braun Strowman, and it's probably going to be Braun Strowman.
Vince, your thoughts on Sunday's Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? I know you were looking forward to it.
Well, if Ambrose didn't beat Strowman last week, then it's going to I can't see anybody else going over except Strowman.
I could see it coming down to him and Bray Wyatt, and maybe something happening there. Who knows?
Can I ask you a question, because I got distracted at the end of this match because I had an itch on my foot, but I got to ask you a question. Did this thing finish with Show and Kane in the ring standing tall? Was that the last thing we saw?
That is.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did Kane not choke slam Big Show last week?
Yeah, I thought they would at least have Big Show slam Kane back. You know.
It just cracks me up that of all the people that worked there, not one person says, "Wait a minute, didn't Kane?" No, here's what shocks me even more: the talent doesn't point that out when they're laying this match out to Big Show. He doesn't point out, well, wait a minute, didn't Kane chokeslam me last week? That's got to show you how little they care, and that's really, really sad.
Is normal. WWE's not going to let a little thing like sense screw up their segment, you guys. They're not going to do that. Yeah, Mark Henry, I wanted him for months to win this, but seeing how he could barely move, I don't know. I'm scared for him taking that bump over the top rope now. It's terrifying. You know what he needs to do, guys? He needs to go to ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc and get a great deal on the Max Pack. ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc, used by stars such as John Cena, AJ Styles, Chris Jericho. All kinds of WWE superstars use DDP Yoga, and you can too. Go there, get a great deal on the Max Pack. I personally have used it, and it helped me avoid surgery a few years ago. I had a couple of bulging discs in my neck, and it basically helped me completely avoid surgery, which is really awesome. Also, check out The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, available now on Vudu, Amazon, iTunes, PlayStation Network, Google Play, all major formats digitally. Fantastic documentary, has gotten great reviews. Highly recommended from myself and Raj on multiple occasions. Also, if you are in Dallas this Sunday, check out DDP Yoga's live workshop that he's doing. He's trying to get over 150 people there so he can have the biggest one that he's ever done. At the last count I heard, it was like 85, and that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So hopefully he's approaching that. Go to ddpyoga.com and check out his appearances page. But yeah, guys, support the podcast. ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. Also, you guys can go back a couple months ago on the YouTube page. We did an interview with DDP. Real fun stuff. ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. But yeah, I think that DDP Yoga would help out Mark Henry, you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a shot. I mean, you've seen people in a lot worse shape come back from the, you know. Arthur, exactly.
Arthur, who's basically the mascot for DDP Yoga, wasn't able to walk without those I don't know, what are they? They're not stilts. The crutches, basically, that he had. Yeah. And he's able to run now, so good for him. ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. Also, I want to ask you guys, what in the hell is The Rock doing on WrestleMania, Vince? Any thoughts?
Well, what are they all doing on WrestleMania, right? Austin's going to be a WrestleMania. HBK, I think, is going to be a WrestleMania. I mean, unless they do an opening segment kind of like they did a couple of years ago with Rock, Austin, and Hulk.
I got it. 8-man tag against Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, Heath Slater, Adam Rose. Biggest match of the century.
That would be something. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I couldn't see The Rock wanting to get involved in that Reigns match just because he knows that Reigns is going to get booed out of the building. Unless if they turn Reigns heel and they did something there. But I think Rock wouldn't just want to just go in to get his ass kicked and leave, you know. So, gosh, I mean, they've done that. They did the Rock Hogan Austin thing, doing that again with Rock and Austin and Shawn Michaels. I guess I don't know. It just seems like a replay.
I have no clue what he's doing. It's a far cry from him hyping up several times that it was going to be something big. So,
yeah. And you got to think too, if he's not wrestling this year, that's probably it. I can't see, this was supposed to be the one that he was interested in wrestling at, again because of the size of the crowd.
100,000.
Yeah. So I think if he's not wrestling again, if he's not wrestling this year, I think he probably had his last match.
Is there any possibility that there's like a split second type of match situation, like a rock bottom, people's elbow, get him out of the ring type of, and then pinfall type of match, like something like that where it's spontaneous? I mean, I would like to say that they would advertise something like that. Vince, what do you think?
Well, Sean, let me ask you this, bro, because I've been hearing all kinds of different reports. Where are they ticket-wise? Do you know?
They have sold well over 80,000.
Yeah, because I heard
weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard there was still like 25,000 tickets left or something like that. I mean, my point is, if there's still 25,000 tickets left, and bro, listen, 85,000 tickets is nothing to sneeze at. That's freaking incredible. But they want to sell it out,
Well, I think
it's sold out.
It's sold out.
It's close to sold out. I think the problem is a lot of those secondary market vendors have a ton of tickets, so they bought those tickets. They just haven't been able to unload them.
Because my whole point was, if they're not sold out yet, I can't see them kayfabing us on anything The Rock is going to do. I just can't see that happening. I mean,
yeah, and he has that insurance issue, so I could always see it like he comes in as a surprise thing, like during the New Day match as a fourth person, just does a couple of spots, because I mean he did a couple of spots with Rusev a couple years ago. I mean that's all he really has to do, and they don't advertise it as a match. Maybe that doesn't hurt him with the insurance. I don't know, but it could be something as simple as that. But I don't know if he'd want to risk it.
So Roman Reigns is backstage. He runs into Bubba Ray Dudley, who they had some issues on SmackDown. Bubba Ray goads him into attacking him. Devon's there. Triple H is there. They all jump Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has to overcome the odds again, you guys. The moral of this story, what WWE has continually told us, is that every babyface on the roster is a giant selfish douchebag, and all of the heels are extremely loyal, good friends to one another.
And that Reigns is a dumbass. Who didn't see that was a setup?
Come on, Reigns, hit me.
Well, I gotta assume, since what is it, Jay and Joey, the Usos, Jay and Jeff, who is it? Jimmy and Jay. I've gotta assume, since they're so close. Let's assume this, Sean. Since they're all close, when they have to take a dump, they only take dumps together. Because every time when Roman is in trouble, neither one of them ought to be found. So you gotta assume that both of them are in side-by-side stalls in the bathroom taking a giant dump. But bro, here's the hysterical part to me. Not only do the Usos not show here, but they showed up in the last segment at the end. Does that unless they were taking dumps side by side, does that make sense to anybody, bro?
Well, that would have taken a bit of time to get from where they were to, I don't know. Yeah, but
I don't know. I've heard some X-Pac stories about how he made it all the way across the arena after crapping in somebody's salad or bag or something like that, and he made it back to Gorilla.
Bro, I remember we did a thing with DX once where I don't remember if X-Pac was in the match or whatever, but the Calgary came and started, the heels started coming and getting heat on X-Pac. We basically had Billy and Road Dogg hit the ring with soap suds on them and towels, like they literally were in the shower when it happened, and they still went out there. That's how we were still trying to cover it. But I don't know what the Usos are very, very slow to get to situations like this, man.
Usos versus Dudleys at WrestleMania. Gosh, who's winning this, Raj? I'm kind of up in the air about this.
The Usos. I mean, they wouldn't give the Dudleys an inch against the New Day. I can't see them having them beat the Usos at Mania.
Vince?
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely.
Well, I don't see the Usos ever getting back to where they once were, which is unfortunate for them. But if I had to go one way, I guess you all have talked me into the Usos here. Kofi Kingston versus Alberto Del Rio. Kofi Kingston kicked Del Rio while Xavier Woods played La Cucaracha on the trombone. I laughed at that. I felt very guilty about laughing at that, but I did. New Day was really over here, and I had people say, well, that was not necessarily their birthplace, but that is probably where they peaked, was in Brooklyn around SummerSlam. Raj, any thoughts on this and the League of Nations New Day match? Also, we saw the coach come back.
Yeah, and when the coach came out, I thought he was going to announce that it was a title match at WrestleMania or something a little more substantial.
I thought he was going to be the fourth man and even the odds.
Yeah, that way he has wrestled before.
Yes, he has.
Have the League of Nations beaten New Day at all? At least on Raw.
I'll look.
I mean, I think New Day just beats them every time. It's just such a weird feud that, the New Day beat them a couple times and they challenge them at Mania. Then they're still wrestling, in different variations, and New Day keeps winning. So, God, I think the League of Nations are finally going to get their win at Mania. But I don't know. It's just weird.
You hear all these rumors that they want to push New Day into the stratosphere at WrestleMania. And I'm like, how the hell are you going to do that with them working these four guys?
Yeah, I don't know, but New Day, they've been booked stronger than most of their champs. So,
Vince, your thought on all of this?
You know what blows me away, you guys, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because it was a very long 3 hours. Did one single heel, get any heat tonight going into WrestleMania? Did one heel get any heat tonight?
Well, hell, half the matches are babyface, and some of them are heels mixed in with babyfaces. I don't know anymore.
Are the Big Show and Kane, are they heels now? It's hard to tell.
No heel got.
Show will be next week.
No heel got any heat going into their WrestleMania match, which blows my mind. Blows my freaking mind. The whole idea of the big pay-per-view for the last 50 years was to see the babyfaces get their comeuppance at the big show. That's what you work toward. Not one single heel got heat on a babyface tonight. Triple H got it on Reigns, and then they took it away at the end. Not one person got heat. That to me is so far away from center of the very foundation wrestling was built on. It blows my freaking mind.
That's a good point. I didn't even notice that until you mentioned it. Yeah, that didn't happen once.
Nope.
Well, let's move on to something positive. Finally, we got to see Kalisto and Connor of the Ascension Lockhorn, something that I have been anxiously awaiting, you guys, since I covered the same match last Friday on Superstars.
The go-home show to WrestleMania, you had Emma and Connor. And this is no disrespect to Emma, but she hasn't been on Raw in, a year? Like, wrestling a match?
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
But you're throwing these guys on the go-home show. That just blows my mind.
We'll get to that. But Ryback came out, got in Kalisto's face, and started doing the feed me more. Now, keep in mind, he had practically reinvented himself to get to this spot and somehow wound up in a singles title match at WrestleMania without the feed me more shtick, and he goes right back to it. Raj, what in the hell is he doing?
And this would have been, what Vince mentioned, this would have been a good spot to have Ryback kick the living shit out of Kalisto.
Yeah.
That would have been a good, way to build heat for this match. He looked ridiculous, in front of Kalisto doing that little waving his arms in the air.
They're building a 265-pound ex-NFL player as an underdog, but not a 5'6", 165-pound guy facing Vince, give me something.
Bro, here's the payoff of this, and I'm really looking forward to it because this is what's going to happen with the feed me more, feed me more, feed me more. They're building towards, bro, one of these days, Ryback's like tonight. Tonight would have been the perfect night to do it. He's going to go in somebody's face and say, feed me more. The guy's going to take a big Polish sausage in a nice bun out of his pants, give it to Ryback, and Ryback's going to say, thank you, and walk away. And it's going to be the end of the angle. He's waiting for somebody to feed him. Somebody just freaking feed the guy. Give him a bag of peanuts. Give him some Twizzlers. Give him something. If somebody feeds him,
that's the Snickers tie-in. That's the Snickers tie-in.
There it is. If somebody feeds him, maybe he stops.
How have they not done that with the Snickers deal that they were doing a few weeks ago? How did they not tie that in?
Yeah.
I wish that we had a ready-made tie-in for our sponsors like that. Yep. I wish. Oh, man. So, guys, with all due respect to the opening segment, my highlight of Raw was watching Brock Lesnar crack up at Paul Heyman. That is among the rarest things you can see is Brock Lesnar legitimately trying to fight back a laugh. Now, I didn't think the promo was anything special, but Brock Lesnar was trying not to laugh at the fact that Paul Heyman used some terminology that he clearly was told not to use before. He said the word weapons, and I guess he had been told to not say that, and Brock Lesnar found it hilarious. Raj, what did you think about this segment? Also, afterwards... And I don't know what to make of this Dean Ambrose thing, but he came out with a wagon, filled it full of weapons, including he tried to throw a Singapore cane, which Brock Lesnar caught and tried to hand back to Dean Ambrose, and he laughed even more. That was fun to see, but I don't know if it was an effective segment per se, but I was entertained by Brock Lesnar and his silence, Raj.
That's about it, man. They got to do. I mean, Heyman is great on the mic, but it's the same thing every time. Have Lesnar say a few words once in a while. Mix it up. Do something. The Ambrose with the barbed wire. You watch The Walking Dead.
Oh, it's going to be a big day for barbed wire wrapped baseball bats on Sunday.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of barbed wire bats baseball bats.
To steal a line from my friend Steve. Yeah.
You got to wonder if they got that idea from Cactus Jack, the comic book writer.
Well, I've read the comic book and it gets pretty hairy.
Yeah, I've heard about that. They're doing the same thing. Ambrose hasn't really gotten the better of Lesnar at all. I mean, they should have had him just wail on him with the Singapore cane, like all the way to the back, or just get something. Especially because you got to think he's losing on Sunday. So, give him something.
Another good reaction from Lesnar was his face when Dean Ambrose pulled the chainsaw out. Go back and check that out, you guys. It was just this impossible look of, well, what's he going to do with that? He can't possibly saw through me with that, even if he wanted to. Vince, I see you with an interesting look over there.
Listen, I gotta tell both of you gentlemen something. This was so pathetic. You're missing the obvious. The obvious is they had to literally put all those weapons under the ring to do this segment. That's the thing. Like, bro, why is there a chainsaw under the ring? Now, bro, you mean to tell me they couldn't have done this same... Bro, here's what I would have done. Bro, this is why they're such freaking idiots. They had to put every weapon under the ring to do this segment. Meanwhile, all they had to do was have Ambrose collecting his weapons in the back. He's going around with a shopping cart. Bro, first of all, why are you giving the guy a Red Ryder wagon, which made him look like an idiot?
Why is the first place that one would look for a chainsaw and a barbed wire bat under a wrestling ring?
Bro, all they had to do, he's in the back, he's getting his weapons together, here comes Lesnar, big brawl out into the people, let Lesnar leave with some heat. But the fact that they had to place the weapons under the ring so they could do that segment just freaking blows my mind, bro.
So I have two big questions here for you guys. One, who wins? Two, does Ambrose use that chainsaw, Raj? Does he chop up a turnbuckle? Anything.
If he uses it, he'll use it, hitting him with the other side in the head. But I think you got to have Lesnar win. You've built up too much equity in building Lesnar to have, and they don't see Ambrose as a top guy, so why waste that equity on Ambrose winning? If you want to build that for something big, it should be a big deal when someone beats Lesnar. So I think you got to go with Lesnar.
Vince.
I disagree, Raj, but I'll tell you how they're going to blow it. I disagree. Ambrose has to beat somebody to get to the next level. He just lost to Triple H at whatever crossface. Now he's got this. He's got to beat somebody to go to the next level. But here's what they're gonna do. In my opinion, here's what they're gonna do. It's gonna be such a watered down win somehow, some way. I don't know if they involve Mick Foley. I don't know if they involve Terry. I don't know. It's going to be some kind of a watered-down win to protect Lesnar somehow, some way, that it's going to totally defeat the purpose and mean nothing. It's going to mean nothing because they're going to be worried about, we got to give Dean the win, but we got to protect Lesnar. So they're going to overprotect Lesnar, and the win is going to mean nothing. But I just don't know how they're ever going to get Ambrose to the next level if every time he's got a big match, he loses. At some point, he's got to win.
Someone recommended the Wyatt family interfering because they haven't cooled off on that completely, so you could always do that.
And there was speculation that would be who interfered in who got involved with this to begin with, but or to set up a Wyatt match that people thought that Bray Wyatt and those guys would get involved with Brock Lesnar, but it just hasn't happened, and they've kept Bray off TV. I think Dean Ambrose needs at least a strong showing where he doesn't need help from anybody, even if he loses, even if he's the guy who just takes the ass whipping of a lifetime from Lesnar, and Lesnar can't put him away. Dean Ambrose does need an extremely strong showing. I'm gonna hope that I'm gonna hope that Dean Ambrose wins because I'm a Cincinnati guy and I want.
But Sean, can I ask you a question? Didn't he have that at Roadblock? Didn't he have that in the match? Did it help him?
No.
Well, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, but
nobody thought that Dean Ambrose was going to win that match, though. There wasn't anybody that thought he was going to beat Triple H in that title match.
But the good showing didn't help him.
No. Yeah, but I mean, there at least in this there is that uncertainty that's related to this. Sorry, I'm stammering so much, you guys. But there's this more of a sense of uncertainty in the Brock Lesnar Dean Ambrose match, even though there's not a large sense of uncertainty. But nobody thought that Triple H was going to drop that title. I mean, there were some thoughts maybe that they may turn it into a 4-way or something like that, but that was more hoping than thinking.
Yeah. Really, I don't think there's any way that Ambrose wins that match. I could be biting my words, but they protect Lesnar like they do Undertaker, and it's
true.
And Triple H. So I just don't see it.
So guys, I'm going to give you all a little tiny history lesson here. So last Monday on Raw, they were scheduled to do a segment in which would have brought back Emma, who was a former WWE main roster talent, went back to NXT, reinvented her character, has been fantastic on NXT, unbelievable on NXT. Fans somewhat familiar with her on the main roster. Brie Bella had to leave Raw, whatever reason. They did this segment the next night on Main Event, not on SmackDown, where people would actually see it, on Main Event, where Americans don't actually get the show for, I think, another week. So Emma returned on Main Event and sided with Tamina, Lana, Summer Rae, who is for some reason with Lana. We haven't heard why yet, and Naomi. This is the Bad and Blonde, or Blonde and Bads, whatever, against Team Total Divas. We got Emma versus Paige. Emma won due to Lana's interference. That's fine. Reintroduce Emma. That's cool. But maybe you should show where she came back last week. That would be handy. But that wasn't it. That wasn't it, you guys. We kept seeing this graphic of a silhouette. Who's going to be the fifth woman? Team Total Divas. Who's it gonna be? The music hits, and you hear this sound. It's very rarely you'll hear this sound from the crowd. Oh! It was Eva Marie, you guys, and the crowd was disgusted. They could not be more out of touch. This has to be a giant troll. There's no way this can be serious. I can't say that I hated it because I cried a tear of laughter after this, so I was entertained in some demented, sick way. Vince, I know you're not a big NXT guy, are you?
No, I'm not.
So I'll give you the history of Eva Marie. She was brought on to Total Divas basically by E. They wanted her on there. Or maybe WWE did. I don't give a damn who wanted her on there. She couldn't wrestle, and they tried to put her in the ring. She sucked. They sent her to Brian Kendrick. He helped her a little bit. They have still had to edit her matches heavily on NXT. She kicked Carmella in the head, almost gave her concussion. It's been bad. She's not good enough to be on the main roster. But to her credit, people don't like her. And that's half the battle, right? Making people give a shit about what you're doing. She at least has that. But she's on the babyface team at WrestleMania! Raj, I know you watch some NXT. Please give me some... Entertain me with this. Give me a reason. Play devil's advocate.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's just, I mean, the reaction from the crowd.
It was great.
I loved it. I mean, it's a throwaway match. It doesn't matter. I mean, that match isn't going to go longer than 5 minutes anyway. So, who cares? I mean, she's probably going to be in the ring for about 30 seconds max. So
I died laughing after I got over being pissed for about 10 seconds. I was howling. Yeah. Vince, your thoughts of Eva Marie in this match?
I mean, by the time they got to the end of the match, like, it was such a cluster. I mean, it was really bad. Can I ask you guys a question? Do you guys think Vince McMahon watches NXT? Do you think Vince McMahon has a clue who the characters on NXT are?
Very little.
No. I'm sure that NXT event he went to last year, I'm sure was the first time he probably watched a whole show.
So he probably could have thought the redhead was hot, put her in the match, and not had a clue what she did at NXT, and everybody was too afraid to him to say, Vince, she's a heel.
Man, and that if you're picking one person that you should probably speak up and say, hey, Vince, might not be the right call. Because there's no way she's getting a babyface reaction. Here's the thing, you guys. You want Roman Reigns over as a babyface, you have him fight Eva Marie. Figured it out. WrestlingInc.com podcast just figured out how to get Roman Reigns over as a babyface. Have him fight Eva Marie. That's it. We're geniuses. We've done it. Who's winning this match? I think it's probably Team Total Divas. Right, Raj?
Yeah, I guess. Did anyone win this match tonight?
There are no winners in this match. I don't know. Oh, Emma won the match against Paige.
Then Total Divas are probably winning.
Also, I didn't get your prediction on Kalisto versus Ryback.
Gosh, I'm gonna go Kalisto actually.
I am too. Vince, your thoughts, your predictions on Kalisto, Ryback, and the biggest match in WrestleMania history, Team Bad and Blondes versus Team Total Divas.
God, how sad is it that there are so many matches that you just could care less who wins or loses at Mania.
And then I forget to even ask you all who you think's going to win.
The Divas and the midget.
God, Vince. Oh boy, I'm going to be fielding those tweets all Tuesday long. Next up. Now, I want to preface this by saying I love Kevin Owens. I think Cody Rhodes is a fantastically talented human being. I think The Miz is greatly improved. I think Sin Cara has a new lease on life over that crappy Hunico character. Since he put on the mask, he's been great in the ring. Dolph Ziggler always delivers. Sami Zayn, enjoy him too. These guys were booked as jabronis before. They're going to be booked as jabronis after WrestleMania. And that's why nobody gives a damn about the match. This 23-minute segment, and I had somebody who had the balls to say, well, you would have complained if it were 3 minutes. Yeah, because there's no happy medium between 3 and 23 minutes in which this match could have taken place, right? None at all. No, maybe 8 minutes.
It was
This
20.
match was
It was
too long.
23 that felt like an hour and a half.
It felt forever,
If it
and
weren't
the
for the
crowd
crowd.
didn't want it.
If it weren't for the crowd, I probably would have turned. I mean, there's nothing to turn away to right now for me, so it sucks. But man, when they're chanting for Byron Saxton, you know you're doing something wrong.
That's a first.
I did like the "This is booty" chant during the match, but good God, that match just felt like forever. It's like they were trying to daring people to tune away before the main event segment.
Vince, I know you loved this match.
Bro, but you know what though, guys, bro, this match was so freaking brutal. But you know what, man? Vince McMahon is sitting in the back at the gorilla position. They know the match is brutal. I don't care if it's scheduled for 23 freaking minutes. Pull the freaking plug. End it. When you've lost the crowd like that and everybody at home is turning the channel, pull the freaking plug. End it. Come up with something creatively on the spot. Send somebody out there. Do freaking something. Pull the plug. The fact that this was dying a slow death and it was getting worse and worse and worse, and they have the ability to buzz the referee and say, end this. Tell freaking Zayn to cover Owens, end the freaking match. The fact that they let it go when they lost the crowd, they lost the audience at home, to me, there's just no freaking excuse for that. If you can't call an audible doing this for 50 freaking years, then you really need to look at the people you have working for you, because horrible. Bro, you know what it was? It's kind of like, I'll translate it to baseball. It's kind of like you got a pitcher on the mound, and the pitcher is shelled for 10 runs. He gets 1 out, and he's shelled for 10 runs, and the manager keeps him in there. That was the end it. You got the ability. Freaking end it. Go home. Go to something else. Shame on them, bro.
I mean, they have an overrun. They can just cut down the overrun. Right?
Yeah. It's not like they're needing to have those few extra points on Nitro. You know, like you don't need the overrun, and
it's a luxury.
Yeah, and the guys worked hard. You know, like they were trying. I thought the last 60 minutes were pretty good, but man, the rest was just when you have conditioned people not to care about any of these guys, and then you give them that long. It's like, what do you expect? You're not gonna. Yeah, I mean, they could have had the match of the year, but you would have had the crowd silent because they have conditioned these guys as underneath guys that no one should care about. And it's too bad because Owens, it really should have been probably a triple threat match with Owens, Sami Zayn, and Ziggler, or maybe throw the Miz in, because as soon as you threw the other guys in, you turned it into a joke.
So, Vince, your thought, who is going to win this Intercontinental title ladder match? Do you even know who's in it?
Yeah, no. I would have if it were me booking, I would keep the belt on Owens.
I agree. Raj?
I agree, too. I think Owens retains. Plus, especially since Owens lost tonight here, too. So,
yeah.
WrestleMania is going up against the Walking Dead season finale. Ouch. So we had the main event segment. We talked about it. Roman Reigns beat up Triple H. They sent out a bunch of heels. Raj, what'd you think?
It's better than last year when you had Reigns and Lesnar do that little tug of war with the belt.
Yeah,
I thought that had to be the worst go home angle on Raw for a WrestleMania main event. But this was the positioning of everything on the show was weird. They've established that Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker is the main event. That should have been stretched out over the show, and that spot of Shane hitting Undertaker, I think the whole vibe of the show would have been different. I think people's reaction to the show would have been different. I think it would have come across as a hot show if they ended with that. And the fans just don't care. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Obviously the original plan was just to have Reigns beat Triple H, but I don't know. I think you got to turn him heel.
Vince, any thoughts on this final segment of the show?
We said the same exact thing last week, guys. There are 3 matches people care about, and I use the term care loosely. Okay, everybody's interested in Shane and Taker. You have some people that care about Triple H and Reigns, some people that care about Lesnar and Ambrose. That's the extent of it. Everything else doesn't matter. Jericho, AJ, they want to see a great wrestling match. We know AJ is going to go over. We've seen him wrestle a million times before. We've seen New Day and the Nation in every possible combination you could imagine in the last 5 weeks. The match means nothing. The 6-way ladder match means nothing. The girls mean not the 3-way. That's probably the 4th most popular. But the point of the matter is you got 3 angles. This entire show should have been built around those 3 angles. To put in all this filler that nobody gave a crap about, it just absolutely boggles my mind. The go home segment, the last thing you see, is supposed to make you say, I cannot miss that match. I've got to see that match. I don't care if Walking Dead is on. I don't care what's on. I've got to see Triple H and Roman Reigns. And I guarantee you, with the way they ended the show, there was not one person out there in TV land that said, I have to watch that match Sunday come hell or high water. So at the end of the day, they did not do their job.
They're capable of it, too. I remember when The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar had that pull-apart brawl.
Yeah.
About 15 minutes before that, I had no interest in seeing them wrestle again because of that WrestleMania 30 performance. When I saw that pull-apart brawl and I heard them saying, I'll kill you, and then the other one saying, you're going to have to, I wanted to see it again. They're capable of doing it, even in a situation where everybody knows it's a work. So, Raj, I want to ask you, what are you most looking forward to seeing on this WrestleMania show?
I think the size of the crowd is one. What they do with The Rock and Austin and Shane and Taker. That's and how they handle the Reigns getting booed. I think those are my main things.
Vince, what are you looking forward to seeing Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I like what Raj is saying, and you know, Raj, maybe the thing is, bro, maybe what we're missing, but I don't think we're really missing it. Maybe they turn Reigns heel by doing something to Rock.
Yeah.
Maybe they save Rock till the very end. The people, 100,000 people, thrilled to see him. Whatever the case may be, maybe he saves Reigns, which enables Reigns to go over. Maybe Rock goes to lift his arms and Reigns shoves him away or whatever, and Reigns lays out Rock. I don't know what they could possibly do to get more heat on him than that. Maybe that's the spot.
Vince, what would you rate this show out of 5?
I'm giving it a 1 because of the first 20 minutes. I mean, that's it. Shane and Taker.
Hey, that's half a star up from last week.
Yeah.
Half a star from last week.
2 shows before Mania got a combined 1.5 star.
Yeah.
Also, guys, a programming note. Thursday we will be on, as usual, our Wednesday show this week. I'll be doing that Friday after NXT TakeOver. Vince will be here with me Sunday after WrestleMania. Raj also hoping to call in. He will be there live. Vince is getting in and out of Dallas. He doesn't want to see you plebs. He's doing it Friday.
Bro, zipping in, zipping out like Czechoslovakia.
Making that money and getting out. But Vince, also congratulations on getting on Podcast One. Wanted to congratulate you publicly on that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, bro. I'm really, 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 really excited about this. Listen, bro, when I say I want wrestling to be great again, that's why I say the things I do. That's why I lose my mind. That's why my blood pressure goes up. I saw many, 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 many phases and stages of wrestling where it was absolutely great. When I was not involved in it, when I was just a fan, it was great. It was tremendous. We need to get back to that. And that's why I'm thrilled to have a voice on Podcast One. I'm going to be on there every week starting April 5th, every day of the week, and hopefully somebody will listen.
Well, Vince, we're going to have you answer a couple of questions with us before we let you go.
And just so everyone knows, Vince will still be on here every Monday night. So
Yeah.
He'll still be joining us on our post-Raw podcast and
course,
our post-pay-per-view podcast.
We had a lot of people asking that. We're not letting Vince go. Come on now.
No, this is too much fun with you guys.
Exactly. So, a question. Is there a remote possibility of seeing the Mean Street Posse do a run-in on Shane's behalf at WrestleMania?
Can I tell you something, kayfabe? Well, I'm telling you, kayfabe. How many people listen to this show? Here's the big kayfabe news, Shane. Shane, Pete Gas keeps in touch with me.
Yeah.
And, bro, he is so dying to be involved in WrestleMania. And, like, bro, he was, like, calling me every week. What do you think, Vince? Like, how far out do you think Shane would let me know? And, I mean, it was like, I was saying to myself, Shane, please, like, make him a part of this. But quite frankly, like, I haven't called him in, like, the last week because, like, I don't want to ask him because, like, I don't want to know. But, man, he is chomping at the bit to be a part of this. I would love to see it. I mean, you know, last year they used the NWO and DX. I think it would be a nice little feature, even for, you know, Taker to just, you know,
comparable stables to the Mean Street Posse.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost up there.
But I mean, bro, why not give Taker somebody to destroy? You know, I don't think it would hurt the match, but I hope Pete does get his 15 minutes.
Oh, Undertaker is really good at kicking multiple people's ass at one time. I think that would be awesome.
Who were they? Was it 3 guys? Pete Gas is the only name I remember.
Pete Gas, Rodney, and Joey Abs.
Yes,
Joey Abs, right?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. Is there any chance that Shane McMahon will turn heel at WrestleMania events?
No, I can't see that happening. Absolutely not.
Raj?
I don't see that happening either. It's just the heel authority thing's just been way overdone.
Has that ever stopped them?
That's true. That is a good point.
Come on, they love telling us how stupid we are. And
I love the one spot tonight when Triple H was cutting the promo and he used the line, "No, this is real life." I'm like, oh God, please.
There was an infamous line. Oh, I wanted to scream. Well, there were two lines on commentary that last year that I hated the most. Bill Simmons, who I love as like a sports commentator, was at the desk with JBL and said to JBL, "Hey, you put over Cena one time, didn't you?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't believe that. He'll never be back on the mic again there." And Matt Stryker, during literally the worst match in pro wrestling history at Triple Mania, was talking about the kicks that these old men were throwing, and he said, "There's no leg slapping going on here." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
Why would you say that on air?"
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. Somebody says there were actually Chris Benoit chants in the arena tonight, and they cut to commercial. That's in very bad taste.
Yeah.
That is incredibly bad taste. Oh, here's a good one. What were they thinking bringing Eva Marie back as a babyface? This girl is so hated that she would make the most hardcore fans cheer Roman Reigns. Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, I agree. Let's see here.
I think they kind of played into that. I think they kind of knew the reaction she was going to get because they had the other women kind of keeping away from her and being unsure. So
yeah. Fans got somewhat bored during the 6-man tag and literally hijacked the show. Thoughts and comments. Well, if they were given any reason to care about these guys, they probably wouldn't have. Also, didn't they tape SmackDown before this show?
Yeah.
So how long have those fans been there? It was a while.
And Superstars.
Oh. Why not just make Superstars a clip show this week?
Or wait, was it the main event? Either way, one of those shows they taped. Too.
Yeah, Vince, what were your thoughts on the crowd reaction during that match?
It's just so interesting, guys, and we should. I mean, you know, Sean, if you're open to this, and Raj, if you're open to this is an entire show on its own. Bro, I love the dichotomy here, which is amazing to me. Just today, somebody is sending me the comments of Roman Reigns where he said this is a family show for the kids and everything. I don't care if 30-year-old guys boo me or whatever. He says that the same day that literally adults hijack the show. Bro, think about the difference of those two things. He's saying this is a family show with PG. That's what he said. That same night, you got adults hijacking the show. Bro, that is freaking incredible to me. And we were talking a little bit about this, Sean, before Raj came on, but like, what is Raw anymore? Like, who is your audience? What are you? What 1 second we're using the word bitch, the next second the guy's playing cucaracha on a trombone. Like, what are we? I don't even know what we're watching anymore half the time.
I mean, ultimately, it's a variety show, but as you mentioned, he says they're portraying. They've done this for 12 years with John Cena, and I love John Cena as a performer, and I think him being so polarizing is one of his selling points, because people either love him or hate him. There's no in between. But he's been a babyface that whole time, and that's been 12 years. They can't do that for another 12 years with another guy. It's at that level, at least. Raj, I mean, I know you've seen it. You've covered literally the entire decade plus that's happened with Cena.
Well, they're not making any changes, and you see what's happening when they're not making any changes. It's just every year there's the decline. You see the numbers before WrestleMania last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and every year you see that like 10, 12% drop. I think it's even more this year. So if they don't change, that's it doesn't take a genius to look at the trends and see that doing what you've been doing and where it's heading. So. That's where they're at right now. They're at a holding pattern where they want to be like McDonald's, where you could just kind of cookie cutter. You don't change anything. Everything is just kind of moving along, and you can open a new. It's like you can put new people in charge. It's just the same thing happening, and it's sustainable. But you're not going to grow with this.
Raj, what's interesting? When I read Roman Reigns' comments today, and I'm reading those words, I'm saying those words came directly from Vince McMahon. That's what Vince McMahon is telling Roman Reigns every single time he's getting booed out of the building. Word for word, those words came from Vince McMahon. What that tells me is when Vince goes to the Barclays Center tonight and listens to the crowd, you know what that tells me? He's in absolute denial. He is in absolute denial, not listening to them, and still, like Rod said, no, we are McDonald's. This is the way we're going to do it. And you can see where Vince is coming from Roman Reigns' comments, and just literally ignoring and being oblivious to what the fans are telling you.
And the last question we have, would you be rather watching Thunder or Raw right now? Hey, if we were watching Thunder, we'd get to see Vince Russo versus the Masked Heel.
Oh, bro, that was one of the top matches of all time, bro.
I remember that. Who was that? Stevie Ray under the mask?
Stevie Ray, baby. Yeah.
Breaking kayfabe here.
Yeah.
Vince, thank you so much for joining us. Raj and I are going to talk a little bit of MMA before we go. But thank you so much, Vince. You'll be here Sunday talking WrestleMania with me. Very excited for that.
And, bro, not for anything, Sean, I cannot believe we spent an hour and 20 minutes talking about that debacle. But anyway, thanks for having me, fellas. I enjoyed it. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. So, Raj, we got some pretty big MMA news today. Chris Cyborg is going to fight for the UFC at UFC 198, which they've stacked that show for Brazil. She will be fighting at 140 pounds, fighting the 8-6-1 Leslie Smith. What did you think when you heard this news and her choice of opponent?
I heard the rumors going on for a few weeks, and so it wasn't surprising. I just don't get it. Why are you bringing a woman in who, I mean, fine, she'll be a draw for that show in Brazil, but maybe make it a dark? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's a draw.
She'll sell some pay-per-views, yeah.
Yeah, she'll sell some pay-per-views. But at the end of the day, you're not building up to anything. If she's not going to fight at 135 pounds, and you're not looking to create a 145-pound division, is she just going to be fighting catchweight fights this whole time, or is it like a one and done? So I just don't get it.
And the choice of opponent and Leslie Smith is super tough. She really is. Her ear literally exploded in the cage, but 8-6-1 tells you plenty. This is about the same level of competition she was facing prior, in Invicta that got all that criticism. She needs to fight somebody worth a damn, and she's not doing it. But you know, she's going to be an attraction for this show, which has Anderson Silva, Vitor Belfort, Jacare Souza, a heavyweight title fight. It is a loaded card.
Yeah, it'll be a fun show, and even the Rousey fight. I mean, the Cyborg fight. It's still interesting, even though you know what's going to happen. It's still interesting seeing Cyborg in the UFC. So.
Now, even more fun, did you see, and I'll post an article about it hopefully soon, the incident that John Jones had with a police officer in Albuquerque.
Drag racing? I haven't watched it yet.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay. So John Jones insists he was not drag racing. The police officer says he was. The police officer was a little condescending, but John Jones didn't do himself any favors. One of my favorite parts is when the police officer said, "Why is your car loud?" And he said, "It's a sports car." But yeah, John Jones got issued 5 tickets. At what point, Raj, do you hire this man a driver?
He needs the Uber app. Like
yes,
yesterday. Yeah, that man should not be anywhere near a wheel.
I actually have a friend who is in or came in for the summer. I think it was winter break, and he just drove Uber the whole time he was in. So I know that's a thing. And John Jones could probably retain one of those people.
Yeah.
Just say, "Hey, listen, bud, I'll pay you."
Right.
But yeah, I don't think it's going to cause him any major trouble. But yes, guys, we'll be back Thursday night after SmackDown. We'll be back Friday night after NXT TakeOver, which will probably be about 12. And then post-WrestleMania, of course, right after Monday Night Raw, again, next Monday. Subscribe to the YouTube page, like the video, leave us some good feedback on iTunes. Again, please share this anywhere you can. Real quick.
Do you think the fans will boo either Shane McMahon or Undertaker at WrestleMania?
That's another thing. We've got Shane McMahon, Undertaker, babyface, right?
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, babyface again, right?
Yeah.
Triple H versus Roman Reigns is face versus heel, but neither one is getting the desired reaction, right?
Yeah.
We have a 6-man ladder match that has a bunch of faces and heels.
Owens will probably be the most cheered person in that.
Exactly. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, where if Strowman and if Bray Wyatt's in it, he's a heel, and he'll probably be the most cheered person. A mixture there. We have a triple threat Divas match, a mixture of faces and heels. We have this 5-on-5 debacle that is going on with Eva Marie on the babyface side. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll just put it that way. And I can't see either of those guys getting booed. So
yeah. I'm excited for this week.
I think Vince tries to interfere for Undertaker. This is what I think happens. I think Vince tries to interfere for Undertaker. Undertaker, he knocks Shane out or something. Undertaker sees what happens, either takes out Vince and then either like lays down for Shane at the end of the match after like a half-hour match or something, or someone comes in and takes Taker out when Shane's not looking, and then Shane still beats him.
Do you think there would be any backlash for that? Kind of like, I can't believe WWE would get the Undertaker pinned twice, even if it's this manner.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you have ultimately someone throwing away a match, and that's your main match on the show, you definitely could. I mean, that's a big risk if you went that route.
Isn't it so funny that it's like, well, the Undertaker lost once, so he can lose again, but it's like, would they dare? Would they dare do it again? Yeah. Oh man. But guys, please support the show, ddpyoga.com/Wrestling Inc. If you order anything else from there, any shirts, anything like that, let them know that Wrestling Inc. sent you. Even send them a little tweet and say, hey, listen, DDP, I love DDP Yoga, and Wrestling Inc. told us about it. Raj, you're heading to Dallas this week.
Heading to Dallas. I'll be there Thursday. If you guys are going to Wale Mania, I'll be wearing a Wrestling Inc. shirt, so feel free to say hi. I love catching up with you guys. And Friday, I'm not sure yet if between NXT or Evolve. I'm trying to decide between those two. and or maybe ROH. And yeah, Sunday I'll be at Mania, so look for me in the Wrestling Inc. shirt. I mean, it'll be gigantic as far as the crowd goes, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Also, Vince will be at WrestleCon, so go check him out there. Guys, I will be releasing my new long-form feature. I think next week, Raj, that we're going to try to do that?
Yeah.
Next week, if you all like the Muhammad Hassan one, I hope that you like this. I got a lot of good feedback from the Muhammad Hassan article. For this newest one, I talked to about 9 or 10 different current, former WWE personalities, wrestlers, Hall of Famers, things like that. So I hope you all enjoy it. It's been really crazy talking to all these people. But, yeah, I hope you all like it. Not going to release that much info until it drops. But, no, I'm not going to Dallas. I was going to go to Dallas. Circumstances prevented that. Somebody's got to do the legwork here. We can't all go have fun like Raj Giri's doing, guys.
Yeah, someone's got to watch the site.
Yeah. Or else y'all got to be stuck with Mark. With Mark.
Mark's a workhorse, man.
Mark is a work.
That guy's a beast.
Hey, I didn't understand it until I got into the grinding of news writing. Mark Middleton is not a human being. No, I'm convinced that he's actually a robot that lives on the other side of that Raj Giri has developed in a lab somewhere. Yeah, shout out to Mark. But again, ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Join us again Thursday, you guys. We're out.